All right, here we're doing lesson 6-7, which is conversions in the customary system. Now, the customary system is the American version of weights and measures. It is different from the metric system. In the customary system, we have lots of different conversions for weight, capacity, and length, all of them different. So you really have to pay attention to what you are exactly doing. And you're not just dividing by units of 10 the way you would with the metric system. Our first problem is 45 inches equals how many feet? Now in your head, you probably know you're going to have to divide to get this answer. You know that there are 45 inches and you're going into so many feet. Um, and 12 inches equals 1 foot. You know you're probably going to have to divide 45 by 12. But the way I'm going to do it, the way that reminds me of what I'm doing and restates my facts, is the way I would like you to do it on your homework, at least until we get the hang of it. Okay? You might think, oh, Mr. Briggs, I can do this in your head, but sooner or later we're going to get to more complicated problems, and when we get to those, it helps to have a model we're familiar with. The first thing I do is I rewrite my problem out. 45 inches equals so many feet. Okay? Pretend I rewrote this on my notebook. Then I state the conversion I know, the fact I know. And the fact that I know is that 12 inches equals 1 foot. And I take a look at the relationship between my two facts. And the relationship is this, that my facts are going up and down. 45 inches, 12 inches. And if they're going up and down, like this, then you have to divide. What do we divide? We divide 45 by 12. And when we divide 45 by 12, which I can also rewrite as 45 over 12, might be an easier way to think about it. If I do 45 over 12, use that fraction stuff we've been learning about, then it handles the problem of remainders really easily. I can pull 3 12s out of there. That's 36. I'm not too good at mental math. It's early in the morning. You might be watching this at whenever, but it's early for me. And I end up getting 9 left over. So 9 twelfths. And I could simplify this. 9 twelfths would simplify out to 3/4 really nicely. So you could write this as 3 3/4 feet. But since I'm already in twelfths, and I know that a twelfth of a foot is an inch, I could also write this as 3 feet, 12 inches. And it would still be correct. So that's how you do division. If you're going up and down with your facts, when you restate them, you divide. Let's go ahead and do a couple more examples here after I've cleaned up. I have 10 pints equals how many quarts? Now, a quart is much bigger than a pint. So I'm going from a small to a big. So I'm probably going to have to divide. I'm already thinking I may have to divide to answer this problem. However, I want to model my unit here. How many pints go into quarts? Well, let's see here. I know that 2 cups gives me 1 pint, right? And I want to know how many pints are in a quart. So 2 cups equals 1 pint, and I know that 4 cups equals 1 quart. So I do let's see here, 4 cups equals 1 quart. So if I have, well, you know what, I might want to draw myself a model here. If I have 1 quart, it's made up of 4 cups here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a pint is made up of 2. So how many pints make a quart? 2 pints give me 1 quart. Yeah, that makes sense. 2 pints gives me 1 quart. See how confusing this is? Even Mr. Briggs is having a problem. So, 2 pints equal 1 quart. So, I'm going up and down. And if I'm going up and down, I need to divide. I divide 10 over 2. And the answer is 5 quarts. 10 pints equals 5 quarts. Oh, I could have just checked this out. 2 pints equals 1 quart. You know, even Mr. Briggs doesn't always follow his own directions. See how much trouble it would have saved me had I just looked at that little conversion chart, which is in your book, by the way. Let's see if I can do better in the next one. 7.5 feet equals how many yards? Oh my gosh, this is complicated. Well, I'm starting with something that has many parts, and I'm going to something with smaller parts. So I'm probably going to have to divide again. Let me put this down. If 7.5 feet equal how many yards, I'm going to restate my fact. 12 feet. Nope, not 12 feet. 3 feet equal 1 yard. And if 3 feet equal 1 yard, I'm going up and down again. I need to divide. So I put down 7.1/2 divided by 3. Okay? We know how to divide fractions, don't we? All we have to do is first, we make this. Let me give myself just, oh, running out of room here. I'm just making all kinds of goofy mistakes in the morning right now. I just restate my problem. I'm just going to write it over here. I have 7.1/2 divided by 3 over 1. Then what I need to do is I'll make 7.5 into an improper fraction, which is 15 halves, times the reciprocal, which is 1/3. 15 times, I can take 15 and 3, make my life easier. This becomes 5. This becomes 1. 2 times 1 is 2. And 5 times 1 gives me 5. I get 5 halves, which breaks down to 2.1/2. So 2.1/2 yards. And I guess you could break that down into feet and inches, but why bother? Let's kick the speed up a little bit. Maybe we'll have some multiplication problems in this next one. I certainly hope so. I like those multiplication problems. I find them neat. So I have so many tons equals so many pounds. Oh my gosh. Well, I know a ton is a lot more than a pound. Okay? So I know that first I'm going to copy my problem down here, and I'm going to make 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. And I know that from my conversion here. Okay. And I am not going up and down this time, you notice. I'm going diagonal. And if it's going across, if it's going diagonal, I need to multiply. I'm going to have a lot more pounds than I'm going to have tons. So I expect to get a very big answer. I put down 2 3/4 times 2,000. But of course, we're doing a fraction here, so let's go ahead and make this 2,000 over 1. Then let's make this an improper fraction. So because we have to multiply it across, 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 fourths times 2,000. Now, can I make my life easier? The answer is yes, I can make my life easier. 4 goes into 2,000. Now, I know that 5 would go into 20. So if I take a look at that, I know that 4 and 5 make 20. So I just add 2 zeros. So I get the 2,000 changes to 500. The 4 changes to 1. Now, 11 times 500. You'll want to do that in your head, but what do we remember about multiplication? Let's just do 11 times 5, which is 55. And then add the leftovers, our 2 zeros. And we get 5,500. 5,500 over 1 times 1 is 1. So we get 5,500 pounds. And that makes sense to me. It makes sense to me because I know that if a ton is 2,000 pounds, I would expect it to be, and this is almost another 3, and 3 times 2 gives me about 6. So 6,000 pounds, I expected to have an answer a little less than that, and 5,500 is pretty less, is a little less than. Oh, the bell just rang, so I'm going to have some students coming in. Let's hope I can get this last one done before they come in and bother me. Our last problem here is 1.5 miles equals so many feet. And this is going to be another multiplication problem. I know that 1 mile equals, this is a complicated one here, 5,280 feet. I am going diagonal, so I'm going to need to multiply. I put down 1 and 1/4, and I put down 5,280. I'll underline that, and I make that over 1 to multiply. I change this. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 1 is 5/4. And I have 5,280 right there over 1. Now, I'm going to see if I can't make my life just a little easier on myself. I'm pretty sure I can cross simplify that, but let's see if I can. I'm going to do 5,280. See if I can divide that by 4 real quick. Does it go into 5? Yes, it does. 1 time. I get 1 left over. Does it go into 12? 3 times. So far, things are looking good. I get 0 left over. Bring down that 8. Does 4 go into 8? Absolutely. 2 times. And I bring down that 0. 1,320. So 1,320 is a little easier than dealing with 5,000 there. And more importantly, it means I don't have to divide later. This becomes a 1. So I get 1,320 over 1. And I have to make sure I'm doing that 5 over 1 ahead of time. So this is my new problem. So I have to do 5 times 1,320 now. Oh my gosh, these are complicated. But what do you expect? You're going from miles to feet. So 1,320 times 5. I get 0. 5 times 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 5 times 3 is 15. Plus 1 is 16. Plus 1. All right. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus that 1, I get 6,600 feet. Wow. Well, that's about what I would expect. So 6,600 feet is my answer for this particular problem. So those are how you do 2 types of conversions. And remember, if it's going up and down, we divide. If it's going diagonal, we multiply. Here are your sample problems, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and do these problems, and then come and see me when you are done.